Level 1. The Child of the Rising Sun. You are born into an empire that believes it will last forever. Before you understand geography, you understand ritual. Every morning at school, you stand straight beside your desk and bow toward the emperor's portrait. His image hangs above the blackboard, watching silently as you recite lessons about loyalty and virtue. You are told Japan is descended from the sun goddess, that the emperor is divine, that the nation is sacred. These ideas are not debated. They are absorbed. You memorize them the way you memorize arithmetic. War, at first, is a distant thing. It lives in newspapers and on classroom maps shaded proudly in red. Teachers speak of victories in China, of expansion, of destiny. You believe destiny is something bright. Then the sirens begin. The first time American bombers pass overhead, the sound is unfamiliar, a low mechanical hum that grows into a roar. Teachers rush you from your desk into a shelter dug behind the school. You crouch beside classmates as the ground trembles. Explosions echo in the distance. When you emerge, smoke rises from part of the city you know well. A bakery you once visited is gone. Roofs are torn open like paper. Your teacher gathers you and says, "This proves the enemy fears us." You nod. But that night, you see your mother crying quietly as she folds laundry by candlelight. You pretend not to notice. Something changes. War is no longer abstract. It is above your house. Level 2, the boy shaped by expectation. At 14, school becomes preparation. You march before class. You drill with wooden rifles. You practice lunging forward with bayonets made of carved wood. Posters on the walls show pilots smiling confidently beneath bright blue skies. 7 lives for the emperor, one slogan reads. You do not fully understand it, but it sounds noble. Food grows scarcer. Rice portions shrink. Meat disappears entirely. Air raids become more frequent. Each time the sirens sound, you run without thinking. You begin to equate fear with weakness. You begin to equate sacrifice with strength. Officials visit the school asking who wants to serve in aviation. Your hand rises quickly. Flying seems elevated above the destruction. Clean, heroic. You imagine yourself ascending above the smoke. You imagine being admired. You do not imagine falling. Level 3, the conscript. At 17, a thin official envelope arrives. You have been called to serve. Your father nods stiffly when you tell him. Your mother bows and says she is proud. Pride is spoken loudly. Fear is swallowed. You board a train filled with boys who look like you. Some laugh too loudly. Some stare silently at passing rice fields and mountains as if memorizing them. You tell yourself you are stepping into history. You do not yet know history rarely asks if you are ready. Level 4, the aviation cadet. Flight school smells of oil, sweat, and dust. Fuel is scarce. Aircraft are older now. Training that once lasted years has been compressed into months. You learn takeoff procedures, instrument basics, compass navigation. You practice controlled turns and steady climbs. The first time you fly solo, your heart pounds so loudly you think it might drown out the engine. The runway shrinks behind you. The coastline stretches wide. For a brief moment, the war disappears. Up here, it is just wind and sky. You feel free. You fall in love with flying. You imagine surviving the war. Becoming a commercial pilot. Telling stories of these days as an old man, but casualty lists grow longer. Experienced pilots do not return. Trading accelerates. Something is changing. Level 5, the narrowing path. By 1944, urgency defines everything. American submarines choke supply lines. Bombers burn factories nightly. Cities turn to ash. An instructor pulls you aside after a flight. We train you for what is needed now, he says quietly. He does not elaborate. Soon, you are gathered into a hall with other cadets. An officer explains, Japan faces invasion. Conventional tactics are failing. A decisive spirit is required. Tokubetsu Kogekitai, special attack units. 1 plane, 1 bomb. 1 ship. Volunteers are requested. The silence is heavy. One hand rises. Then another. To remain seated feels unbearable. You stand. Later, you will wonder if you chose freely. At the time, it feels like duty wrapped in inevitability. Level 6, the weight of culture. No one physically forces you, but the culture does. The fear of shame, the desire to belong, the belief that loyalty defines your worth. You tell yourself courage means stepping forward. Training changes immediately. You practice steep dives toward painted targets. Bombs are mounted beneath your aircraft during drills. You are taught precisely where to aim on an enemy carrier for maximum damage. There are no lessons on survival. No drills for escape. The omission is deliberate. You understand now. The sky you once loved has become a one-way path. Level 7. The ceremony of farewell. A white headband with the rising sun is tied around your forehead. Sake is poured into small cups. A senior officer compares you to cherry blossoms, beautiful because they fall at their peak. You bow deeply. A photograph is taken. In it, you appear calm, almost proud. You are 19 years old. Inside, your thoughts are louder than the ceremony. Level 8, the waiting airfield. You are stationed at an airfield in southern Japan. Planes line the runway like silent promises. Each morning, aircraft depart. Few return. The barracks at night are heavy with silence. Some pilots write poetry, some carve their names into wood beams. One whispers that he is afraid. No one mocks him. You have flown more hours than many of the others. They look to you for reassurance. One asks, "Will it hurt?" You say, "It will be instant." You do not know if that is true. But certainty is part of leadership. The American fleet gathers near Okinawa. Briefings become precise. Ship formations, anti-aircraft patterns, approach angles. The future shrinks to a single mission. Level 9, the final dawn. You are told to write home. You sit alone with brush and paper. Please do not grieve. You thank your parents. Apologize for childhood stubbornness. Express hope for Japan's future. You fold the letter carefully. A lock of hair is placed inside. You are 20 years old. Morning arrives pale and windless. Ground crew secure the bomb beneath your aircraft. They bow deeply as you approach. Engines roar. You taxi forward. The runway stretches ahead. You push the throttle. The ground falls away. Hours pass over open water. The ocean below is endless and indifferent. Then you see them. Dark shapes on the horizon. The fleet. Anti-aircraft fire blooms and black bursts across the sky. Biters intercept. One plane beside you explodes midair. Another spirals downward, trailing smoke. Your aircraft shudders under impact. Instinct screams to turn away. Training tells you to continue. You push forward. The world narrows to a single point. You see the deck clearly now. Tiny figures running, guns tracking you. There are no slogans in this moment, no speeches, no ceremony. Only gravity. You think of home. There is a blinding flash. For you, it ends in less than a heartbeat. Level 10, the silence after the sky. For the sailors below, it becomes fire and smoke and chaos. Damage control teams rush forward. Some ships sink. Many survive. The war continues. Weeks later, an officer arrives at your family's door. Your mother bows before he speaks. She receives your letter in a small box. There is no body to bury. Thousands more pilots will follow. Most are barely trained. Many never reach their targets. The strategy does not reverse the war. In August 1945, Hiroshima vanishes in a single explosion. Nagasaki follows. The emperor speaks and announces surrender. Airfields grow quiet. Planes rust where they sit. The ideology that shaped your life dissolves almost overnight. The emperor renounces divinity. An empire becomes a nation rebuilding from ashes. Historians will debate effectiveness. They will calculate ships damaged and lives lost. But numbers cannot measure lost futures. You were not born a symbol. You were a son, a student, a boy who once loved the feeling of open sky. You were shaped by beliefs, by pressure, by loyalty, by fear of shame. You were told your sacrifice would change history. It did not. What changed history was surrender. Reconstruction. Choosing survival over annihilation. Today, commercial aircraft cross the same waters peacefully. Students read about boys who flew one-way missions. They see photographs of composed faces wearing white headbands. They do not hear the silence before dawn. They do not feel the weight of expectation pressing on 19-year-old chests. The sky remains quiet, indifferent, and empty.